Good morning, children. Children, today we will start our new chapter from history, that is chapter 7, Changing Culture Tradition. Okay, so out here we will discuss about the changes that took place in the cultural tradition. Clear? Now, the period that is from 14th to 17th century, it has marked the transitions of the medieval Europe to the modern Europe. Clear? That is, the life in the medieval age was very different from the comparison to that of the modern Europe. In the medieval age, men and women were guided in nearly everything. That is, they did by the idea of other worldliness. This means that their main concern was to prepare themselves for the next life. Now, the Christian church has taught the life on earth was of secondary importance. Clear? As in the medieval age, no effort were made to get the individual their own right. The average man had no liberty to express their own views or lives their life on their own way, and a man inclined that was towards the religion could find only one choice to belong to them. Clear? Now the merchant and the craftsman could work only as a guild member. If a man were a serf, his status of life and his vocation were fixed at the birth only. Clear? That is, the serf son will only become a serf. Now, if all the features of the medieval age are added up, then it becomes clear to us that why medieval man lived in a static world, meaning a world ruled by a custom and resistance any changes. Clear? And for that, new ideas and new way of life were vigorously opposed by the people. In the modern world, what we can see is that changes we could see in thought, in government, and way of living came about with the comparatively rapidly, but the man perpetually lived in the circle of custom. Okay, now after the fall of Roman Empire, we will talk of Europe, and when we talk of Europe, mainly we will talk of Italy out there in this chapter. Clear? And there is abundance of source material on European history from the 14th century. That is, we get the sources of documents, printed book, painting, sculpture, building, textile, and many more things. And much of the source material has been carefully preserved in archives, art galleries, and museum in Europe and America. Clear? So now, children, let's begin our first topic of discussion, that is the revival of Italian cities. Okay. Now, after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, what we can see that many of the towns that had been politically and culture center in Italy fell into ruin. Okay, that is after the fall of the Roman Empire. Now there was no unified government, and the Pope in Rome, who was sovereign in his own state, was not a strong political figure out there. Okay, now in Western Europe, what we can see is that Pope has established its control. That is, it was reshaped by feudal bonds and unified it under the Latin Church. Clear? That is the Western Europe we could see. Now, if you see talk about the Eastern Europe, Byzantine Empire started to control the Eastern Europe. Okay, whereas cities was there like Florence and Venice was there. They were republic city, and apart from this city, other city was also there that was been ruled by the princes, and it was called court cities. And the trade was also started during that time. That is, we can say that Mongol has opened up the trade with China through the Silk Route, as we have already studied in our previous chapter. Now, due to this, what we can see that the Italian port was being used after the fall of the Roman Empire. All that port was being closed in Italy. Now when the trade was being started, the Italian port was being used. Clear? And as all work was stopped out during that time after the fall of the Roman Empire, then slowly we can see that it has started. Okay, now next we will move on to the universities and humanism. Okay, so out here, children, we will get one term that is Renaissance. So I think you all know, well acquainted with the term Renaissance. That is, Renaissance is a French word which literally means new birth or revel. Clear? That is, the Renaissance was a period in Europe that is between 14th and 16th century, especially in Italy, when art, literature, and the ideas of ancient Greece was discovered again and widely studied, causing a rebirth of activity in all this sphere. Okay, that is hence what we can say that Renaissance is regarded as a new birth of mankind, and it was many-sided movement which was accompanied by changes in idea and ideals of. It is therefore we can call it as the age of discovery of the world and man. Okay, now the first university was started in Europe. Where do you know? It was started in Italy. Now, earlier, basically, a religious book used to be taught. Beside this, there we can see the development of craziness of learning different law, basically, legal studies was started. Why? Because that area was of commerce area. Okay, and there was an increasing demand for lawyer and notarians. Their demand was much as because trade was going on there. That was an important part of that area. Clear, that is, trade used to be done from one place to another. That is, things used to be moved from one place to another, and their record was to be kept. So their record used to be maintained. So for that, who required? Lawyer, notaries, and banker. Why? Lawyer, that he used to deal with the cases related to the trade. Notaries, they will keep the note of the records, movement of the goods from one place to another. Banker will look after the money issue. Okay, so beside religious studies, they grew up legal studies. That is, the importance of legal studies has got developed. Now, next we'll move on to the humanism. So, children, by the term humanist, what do we mean? That is, the term humanist was used for the master who taught grammar, rhetoric, poetry, history, and moral philosophy. Okay, so out here we will get two person, that is a philosopher and a scholar. That was Dante, Algeria, and Giotto, who are from the Florence cities. Okay, as in Florence, cultural development has started. Right. So many people they focus themselves in learning, getting more education. That is, we can see that they started to move from illiterate towards the literate. And out there, philosophers, scholars, they came to that place and they gave the idea of different cultures and of various areas they have given. That is, for example, we can right now we are knowing about the Mongol people, how they used to live, what they used to eat, what they used to dress up, right? So Dantes was a layman who wrote on religious theme, and Giotto was an artist and he had painted lifelike portraits. So they developed, this too has developed an art integrity in Florence. Okay, so from then we can see that it Florence has developed into a city of artistic creativity, and the term that is Renaissance, what we have seen was a man in often used to describe a person with many interests and skill, because many of the individuals who have been well known right now at that time were the people of many parts. Clear, that means a particular person, individual person have got a skill of different things. That is, he must have got a skill of different, like he was a scholar also, diplomatic, theologistic, artistic, combined in all this thing skill was being developed into a one person. That was also a renaissance man. Clear? So, next we'll move on to the topic that is the humanist view of history. So, what was the view of humanist about the history we will study out here? That is, the humanists, they have divided history in different ages. That is, 5th to 14th century was been termed as the middle age. That is, and other the 5th to 19th century, if you will see, it was been marked as a dark age. 9th century to 11th century was the early middle age, and 11th to 14th century was the last middle age. So what we see is that from 5th till 14 was been termed as a middle age. So after 15th century onwards was been termed as a modern age. But out here debate between scholar has taken place. What was the reason for that? The debate was on the division of ages. That is, afterwards, the historian and the scholar who came, that is, after 14th century, this historian and scholar, whoever they came, they question about the division of the ages. That is, how period can be of dark age. Their question was how that particular period can be termed as a dark age. Clear. That is, after the fall of Roman Empire, the condition was very poor. We can say that it was very critical condition was there. Everything was destroyed. But during that age, something has happened. Right? Some life was there. Something was present out there. It doesn't mean dark age. Means that everything was full of darkness. Nothing is there. Right? But after that, what we can see, something was present out there. Clear, inspired destruction has taken place, but things were present out there. So how can we say it was a dark age? So it seemed unfair to label that particular period as dark age. So for that reason, historian has raised question about this age. Clear, children, till the humanist view of history. So in our next class, we'll move on with science and philosophy. Okay, so till then, take care. Thank you.